In this video I'm going to take a look at the 4 functions I really think make the XD shine. It's been about a year since its initial release and there are some great demos and reviews of the synth already by Nick Batt of Sonic State and by Loopop. So just a quick overview if you're not aware. It's a 4-voice polyphonic synth. It's got 2 identical VCOs here with sync, ring mod and cross mod, plus it's got a digital oscillator here called the multi-engine, which I'm going to dig into in this video. It's also got a polyphonic sequencer with parameter lock, or motion tracks I think they're called here. It's got a single low pass filter where that's self-resonance, and it's got a drive circuit. It's got a single ADSR for the amplitude and a simple AR envelope for pitch 2 or cutoff, and it's got a simple LFO with 3 wave shapes, and you can sync it to the BPM, have it in normal mode or one-shot mode, and that can be assigned to the pitch, the shape or the cutoff. And finally there's the effects section. It's got 3 type of effects: modulation, reverb and delay, and they can all be on together. And it's just got 2 parameters you can change in them, but they're really nice, good quality effects. And again, this is something I'm going to look at in detail in this video. So as there's so many really good demos and reviews already out there, I don't think there's any point in doing a complete demo or walkthrough of the synth. I think they've got most things covered. But after playing this for a while, I've realised there are 4 things that really make it stand out, especially at this price. First up is the sequencer, and in particular the ability to play and record on the fly. Then there's the user waves. You've got the user waves here, and it's much more flexible than you might at first think. You've got much more control than just the type and the shape. And then there's the effects section. Again, this is much more flexible than you think, with the ability to load in user waves. And then finally the CV connectivity, which can add a huge amount of additional functions and flexibility if you've got other kit. And you know, that loops back into being able to modulate these unmodulatable parameters as well. I'm going to start off explaining why the sequencer is so good, as it was the first bit that really struck me on this. I got this on loan to make a video for a weekly show I started making for Clubbing TV, in which I demo studio kit and how people create tracks. It's not as detailed as this channel, but it's worth a look on Clubbing TV official channel on YouTube. They're being uploaded weekly after their broadcast on their From the Studio playlist if you're interested, and I'll put a link in the description to that. And you even get to see more than my hands. And on one episode I made a short video demonstrating how to create live electronic set in the style of Kink using just 3 synths and a drum machine. I use this, the Minilogue, a TD3 from Behringer and the TR8 from Roland. And it's amazing what you can do with just those things, but you need to be able to program everything on the fly. So here's a quick video of me rehearsing and trying to work out how to get the flow from one track to another without stopping, and how to build breaks and drops and all the rest of it. And the real version of that will be shown on Clubbing TV in July 2020. It's only available on YouTube in the UK and the US. But it was pretty good fun to make, as well as eye-opening. I watched the video of Kink performing a live set with no pre-arranged backing as far as I could tell, and I'm pretty certain he plays everything live, and I'll leave a link to this as well in the description. So he uses the Minilogue and uses the Minilogue, and by syncing everything and playing the sequencers and moving from patch to patch, the sequencer keeps on running, and he deletes whatever's in the sequencer, whatever's being saved in that patch, and plays something new to match what's happening in the track. So firstly, these sequencers are great because you don't have to stop anything to program them, and it might not sound like sort of much of a massive revelation, but it opens up a whole new world of live capabilities. So for example, let's just go back to this patch I've got here. And you watch Kink in his video and he'll play something, and this is all synced up to the drum machine and stuff, so the drums are playing at the same time. So he deletes what was playing, and then he starts to have a little jam. He doesn't have the click track on though, because he's got the drums and everything playing. And that might look really, really simple and stupid. Like, why is Starsky getting so excited by that? But there's not loads of things you can do that on. So when you watch Kink doing that, he just plays this and the monologue and does that over and over again while going back to the TR8 and changing the drum loops. But it really does open up a whole new world of live performance, oddly enough. And on top of that, we've got the 4 modulation tracks, or motion tracks they're called, which are saved with each patch. So if we go to motion mode, play it. So you can create that sort of stuff on the fly, and it just gives you all that motion that you can't get with the envelope generators. So it's a way of opening up what you don't have with the envelope generators, because that's effectively a sort of a 1-bar LFO, isn't it? So I'm using this envelope generator there to do the little sort of stabby transient bit on the filter, and then I've got the sort of long, slow filter sweep over the top. So that's 2 envelopes working on the filter. If you go into motion mode, you can see there's the cutoff. And you'll have seen that on other demos as well, but I think it really does open up a whole new world of experimentation. Low down and an ARP high up if you like. Let's try something like that. So this is an initialized patch, it's just a simple sawtooth. Let's play something in the bass. So let's play something higher up on the top of that. I know I'm not doing anything groundbreaking musically there, but if you are playing live, you can get a bass sound, you can get an arpeggiator over the top, your drums are playing away, you know. I'll stop there before I embarrass myself, but hopefully you get the idea of why I think such a good sequencer, so flexible, and it's all to do with the fact that you can play around live. So next up on my sort of hit list is the user waves in the multi-engine. And if you haven't realised that you can load your own waves by now, you've probably missed the greatest bit about this synth. This third oscillator here, the digital oscillator, has got 3 options. The main one, I suppose, is this variable phase modulation digital oscillator. So let's just listen to that. Turn it up. So this has got 16 waveforms and all sorts of stuff you can do with this. So straight away, hugely flexible, and it's got a massive amount of tones that you just can't get with the analog oscillators. But it's not just these 2 knobs, as I said earlier. You've got lots more flexibility, so shift and shape does something. Changes the ratio of the 2 waves that are modulating each other. So 16 waves, all those different wave shapes plus that, and then we can go into edit mode. If we edit in program edit mode, go to 10, we've got another 6 parameters we can tweak. So feedback, noise depth, initial shape modulation, modulation attack, modulation decay. So it's effectively got a sort of a separate envelope in there, and key tracking on the modulation as well. So really flexible, but once you start getting into the user mode or the user waves, whoever programs the user waves can program what these 6 things do. So there's lots of these available. I think everyone that's got one of these will have instantly downloaded the mutable wave shapes for plats, which are free. I've got a couple of them in here. And there's loads of free stuff available. Here's one from Hammond Eggs. It's called Super, it's like Super Saw. So the shape makes it more super, makes it sort of a bit like PWM on a sawtooth. And shift and shape brings in a second oscillator. And then if you go into the multi-engine, you go into edit 1, you can change the pitch of that second note. So they've programmed in their own parameter change into the multi-engine. If you go to the next one, it's empty. Nothing, 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 nothing. I mean, it's free and it's well worth it. Definitely go to Hammond Eggs and have a look. And they've got lots of effects and different oscillators as well for this and for the Prologue. But it's a lot of work to create these, so most folks are charging a small fee for them. And let's take a look at a couple of those, shall we? So this is one called, I think it's Physiq by Dirtbox Synths. Again, I'll leave links for all these in the description. And this is a physical model of a plucked string. So go to initial program, gives you a sawtooth on VCO1, loading the multi-engine, user wave. So let's go to Physiq, or Physiq, don't know how you say it. And this is loads more complex. So the shape changes the length of the articulation. Shift and shape changes the pickup position, so you get a completely different change in tones. In fact, let's put this on an ARP, shall we? Make it easier for me to program. So lots of nice tones in there already, sort of physical string modeling. Then we go into the edit mode and going to change the articulation. And these represent different ways of hitting a string, so striking it, plucking it, or bowing it. So that's more of a bowed one. Let's take the ARP off, shall we? And obviously, if I spent a bit more time, I could create a nice string sound with that. So let's carry on. I'll go back to articulation 1, just it's easier to demo stuff with that. So next up we've got the volume damping. Damps the volume of everything. So even though I've got a long release on the amplitude envelope, this is cutting off quite quickly. So for bringing VCO1, for example. It's got a long release, so it's different. So you can get sort of lovely sort of mixes of different tones as well. Now we can damp just the high frequencies. So you get a nice sort of high frequencies in the transients, and then they die off quickly. And what I'm showing here is just the flexibility of these user waves. So we could go on for hours doing this actually, and I have done over the last couple of days. You can just lose yourself in all this. So you can change the tension of the strings as well. Add some high frequency. Change the resonant body that you're using. So ridiculously flexible. That's just one user wave. And Dirtbox synths have got loads of them, so well worth checking that out. And with Physiq you also get this controller panel here, and you can see that the articulation length, change that on the synth, that's all synced up. So there's the different articulations, and then you've got this section here with these different patterns, and if I play this, just take the reverb off for a second, that's playing, they call them strumming patterns, and they're just basically different sort of rhythms. So again, loads and loads of stuff in there. I'm not necessarily demoing it to its best abilities, but they've got some really nice demos of this on their website, so well worth checking that out. So next up, and possibly the most innovative use of these user waves, is Tim Shoebridge's beats from soundmangling.com. And here's some of the presets. So yeah, he's created a drum machine on it. Fantastic. And that's a combination of very small sample snippets and the analog oscillators. I think that's an analog oscillator. That's not. But he's got a new one coming out, Beats 2. And what we've got here, on the higher octaves, you've got synth sounds. And in this one, go to edit, you've got gain reductions of the different channels. So you've got kick, snare, percussion, and synth, and snare high pass plus synth detune as well. So again, a different set of parameters programmed in to the user wave. There's something I had a little play with earlier. I had such fun playing with this actually. Something about playing a drum machine on a synth that you just start tweaking about and getting different things with. I love it. Really, really like that. So well worth checking out soundmangling.com. He's got loads of other bits and bobs on there as well. I mean, I just think maybe when you first bought your Minilogue XD, you didn't realise you could turn it into a drum machine. Cool. And that brings me nicely onto the effects section, because you'll have seen I was messing around with the effects as I was playing with those beats. And what I was doing, I was bringing in a high-pass filter. Yes, a high-pass filter on a synth that doesn't have a high-pass filter. Again, this is a Dirtbox release. So go to the modulation section, select. Oh, just missed. Go to the user waves, press shift, go to the sub menu, band pass, band reject, low pass 24 dB. I've got some other bits and bobs I've put in there as well. They were from Hammond Eggs as well, those brigade choruses. But when I try and get back to the high pass. So this is the cutoff and this is the resonance. So yeah, it's amazing what they've put into this. It just staggers me that you could do that. I don't know why, but and of course you can have the reverb on while you're doing that. And what reverb am I using there? Using smooth. I've got some here from Hammond Eggs, free ones. Submarine, Horror, Breathe Pro. Oh, what's this one? Sniff Pro. So again, a new reverb, and it's free. Cathedral. So on that sound there, I've used Dirtbot's Physiq again. I've taken out VCO1 and VCO2, just playing the multi-engine, and I'm using two effects. I'm using Dirtbox's high-pass filter, and I'm using Hammond Eggs Cathedral reverb. So that whole thing you couldn't have done when it was out of the box. Gotta love all that, haven't you? But you've seen me tweaking with a high pass there. Let's turn the reverb off for a second. Back onto the high pass. And these aren't modulatable with the amp envelopes or the LFO, but you can assign them to this, and if you can assign them to that, you can assign the CV-ins to them as well. So let's have a look at that. Let's go into edit mode, CV in assign. Let's put it onto the effects. Mod time, and on this mod time is acting as the cutoff. And let's bring in a guest appearance by a Mother 32. So I'm now going to modulate the high pass with the Mother 32 through CVM1. by using anything like this, you can give yourself an extra LFO or envelope generator, or 2 extra LFOs or 2 extra envelope generators that you can assign to loads of different things. Let's try that with an LFO, maybe with a square. And Hammond Eggs have done this really nice gritty, it's called grit, delay. Let's just get that up. There we go. So this was completely not possible out of the box. I'm using a user wave on the multi-engine, user effects for the modulation. I'm using a high-pass filter, and I've got a user wave or a user effect on the delay, that grit from Hammond Eggs. And on top of that, I'm using the LFO from the Mother 32 to modulate something that's not really modulatable, using the CVNs, bringing in an extra LFO. So yeah, hugely flexible. And I might just do another video showing this a little bit more in depth, exactly what I'm doing over here. Well, I hope that was of some use to somebody somewhere. It was really good fun for me, a really nice learning experience getting to know the Minilogue XD. And if it was of interest to you, maybe think about subscribing if you haven't already, or maybe check out my Patreon page. I've got a whole series now of tutorial videos demonstrating how to program pretty much any synth using subtractive synthesis. It's about 6 hours worth of stuff there, so it's well worth looking at if you want to get away from your presets. So, see you next time.